Before we dive in, let me take you back to 1994. 1994, the O.J. Simpson trial was underway. Movies like Forrest Gump, The Shawshank Redemption, and Schindler's List were released. Ace of Base was introducing everybody to the sign. Companies like Yahoo and Amazon were founded. And a video game by the name of Mortal Kombat 2 was all the craze. But a Japanese video game company decided, you know what, they wanted to cash in on the success of Mortal Kombat 2 and create their own version that they could, get success on. And that was in the form of Tattoo Assassins. You probably never heard of that game, nor have I, hence why you're watching this video. But that game was a commercial flop. But now, after 30 years of the game being dormant, have gone the way of the dodo, maybe having like a cult following, very, very small following, it has a chance at success again. So let's get to it. So, as reported by Arcade Heroes, out of all the brand new arcade exclusive fighting games that were announced at this year's EVO Japan 2025, I hope I'm saying this right, exa-arcadia, a video game company, has teased behind the scenes that it seems to likely hold the most interest for Western audiences in Tattoo Assassins. They want to bring the game back. So that was what was announced. So I'm going to give you a brief history of Tattoo Assassins and give more of a deep dive into the story, the features, and the characters, and then more details about what exa-arcadia is wanting to do with the game. So Arcade Heroes gives a brief history of Tattoo Assassins in the way of, it was an attempt by the pinball division at Data East, who later became Sega Pinball, then Stern Pinball, to jump onto the Mortal Kombat craze, which was still on the ascent back in 1994. The design team was led by DE's own Joe Kamenkow, I'm saying that correctly, and the company hired the Oscar-nominated writer for Back to the Future, Bob Gale, to craft the story. I don't know how we got a writer from Back to the Future to this, but whatever. Said story involved a kind of living ink. Tattooed warriors would engage in ultraviolet combat, and the inked characters on their flesh would come to life in the process. Obviously a blatant ripoff of Mortal Kombat, the game had over 200 fatalities, including nudalities, which were merely teases in the Mortal Kombat games, and the animalities before Mortal Kombat 3 implemented them. However, it did not have much gameplay appeal, so it was never widely released, even though it did appear in several test markets. Only 2 cabinets were ever finished with the complete code. One of those cabinets is still at the Data East headquarters. Now, after hearing this, I did want to point out that the living ink concept does kind of sound oddly familiar to something we have seen in Mortal Kombat movies, such as Mortal Kombat Annihilation and the 2021 Mortal Kombat, where the villain fighters had a dragon tattoo. This is more specifically Annihilation, on the back of their shoulder, that would expel from their bodies when they were defeated or killed. And it also sounds similar to the 2021 movie, where we had the magical power abilities known as Arcana, the mark on the fighter, which provides the power of the Arcana that can be passed to another person if they kill one of the warriors. Like I believe in the movie when Sonya Blade kills Kano. So interesting. I mean, in all defense of Mortal Kombat, if Tattoo Assassins was trying to rip off Mortal Kombat, why not repay them, right? Not like that's going to happen. It's happening over there for it. So here's a rundown of what Tattoo Assassins had to offer. Here is the detailed story of Tattoo Assassins, according to its wiki. And so it came to pass that I'm going to butcher these names. Mula Abba, or Abba. To me, it sounds like ABBA. ABBA, like the Swedish dancing band. The spiritual leader of the Order of Colors, discovered the ancient secret of the mystic ink of Gizi. Okay, or Giz. The ink of Giz is an amorphous fluid organism that can form into real objects for brief moments when applied to human bodies as tattoos. However, the ink is only compatible with those of a certain unusual genetic makeup, those known as hosts. What? The ink can cause bizarre mutations in those who prove unsuitable. I see where they're going. Among the color guards, only Koldan was a suitable host. Thus, believing himself superior to all mankind, Koldan stole the secret of the ink. His goal was to create an army of mutants and enslave the human race. Obviously, our Shao Kahn of the story. Mullah Abba commanded the 9 remaining color guards to find new hosts for the Ink of Geese, one of whom might be powerful enough to defeat Colden. Okay, sounds kind of like a Power Rangers thing going right there. Maybe that's what it more is, like Power Rangers. Because wasn't Rita a Power Ranger at one time? That's what it sounds like more like. And that was also going on at this time. 9 hosts were found. Each received magnificent chest and arm tattoos plus a magical morph tattoo on their palm. Yet Colden's power had grown stronger. His consciousness possessed the assassins. He would use them to find the remaining ink for himself, but all was not lost, for Mullah Abba discovered the strange power of the mysterious tattooed woman, Lila Blue. By using Lila as a channel, Mullah Abba has the power to allow you to possess any one assassin. Choose. Now you must defeat each of the other assassins, use your tattoos as weapons, earn new tattoos, destroy the mutants, find Colden, and defeat the mutants, if you can. That last part really gets convoluted, but nonetheless, there you go. So now here are the roster of characters for Tattoo Assassins. Let's meet our assassins and our heroes, right? So the first one we have is Maya, a tribe woman who fights against a group of settlers trying to take her homeland. Let's see, we have Billy Two Moons, or maybe this is more of him. Billy Two Moons, a renegade Native American fighting to protect the burial grounds of his ancestors. That's more like Nightwolf. Between those two characters. We have Truck Davis, the survivor of a biker gang who seeks revenge for his comrades. Okay. We have AC Current, a cyber mercenary who's on the run from the government and his former employers. This would be our Cyrax, with the electricity part more like a Raiden kind of character. Let's see, we have Takhata, a former Yakuza assassin wanted by both the Yakuza and the police after being framed for a murder. Now, obviously from that description, he could not be Kenshi because that wasn't around back then, but sounds more of like our, Sub-Zero kind of Scorpion character, probably. We have Luke Cord, a former Navy SEAL wanted by the CIA after a compromised operation against the Soviets. I wonder who that could be. Jax Briggs. We have Hannah Hart, a strip dancer who seeks revenge against the murder of her best friend. I wonder who that could be. It's like more of a devious Sonya Blade. We have Derek O'Toole, a former rock star who was accused of being involved in terrorist activities. I don't know who that could be either, Johnny Cage. And then we have Carla Keller, an athlete who seeks revenge after being cheated by a rival. Yeah. This is our boss characters. We have Rhina, who is half rhino. And given by the way she looks, she reminds me a lot of what would then be Shiva and, more our Shiva Goro character. But Shiva, I think, more from Mortal Kombat 3. We have, oh my gosh, these names. DK or DK. Yeah, he's literally just a zombie. But interesting name. And we have Prism. Interesting. And then we have Colden, and those are Colden's minions who serve as sub-bosses. And then we have Colden, or Coldan, the game's main villain and final boss, who seeks to use the Ink of Geese to enslave humanity and conquer the world. He's our Shao Kahn, character of sorts. All right, so let's dive into some of the features. So the gameplay was very similar to Mortal Kombat, with fights being the best of 3 matches. And the fighters obviously have generic attacks such as punches and kicks, and a special move or special moves performed by joystick inputs along with button inputs. So it's very much like Mortal Kombat, which again is more like other fighting games too. Like at the time would have been like Tekken and Street Fighter and stuff, and Virtua Fighter. So the game was advertised as having 2,196 different fatalities. That's a lot, probably amongst all of them. Though only around 200 were noted, as was stated in the brief history note, with some sources only noting around 60 actually being playable. Among those were nudalities, I think that's self-explanatory, based on teases and rumors of their presence in Mortal Kombat 2. So in Mortal Kombat 2, Obviously, the ladies were very gladly dressed, and it was, that was kind of the time period, especially when we got to 3, where the chest was a little bit bigger, you're showing more skin. That's kind of how the times were back in the 90s anyways, how they were portraying women in those outfits. So it makes kind of sense that they would go just push the envelope entirely. Where the opposing fighters lose their clothes. That was basically the move. Other fatalities included flaming farts, giant fly swatters, which sounds kind of funny, cruise ships, and references to other Data East pinball games. Yeah, so that is a in-depth breakdown of Tattoo Assassins. Does it pique your interest? Does it make you want to play it? The story alone is kind of cool, but kind of weird, but whatever. So more details about the actual revival, or the second coming of Tattoo Assassins. Arcade Heroes reported that exa-arcadia has been working with Data East's current rights holders to finally bring this never finished game back to life. Simply going to be titled Tattoo Assassins, EXA has resurrected the original project source code and assets, allowing them to bring a perfect port to the table, along with new balancing, bug fixes, and content. This will include visual upgrades so that the game feels the 1080p 4K monitors that we're used to playing from, and even within the arcade boxes, scanline filters, low input lag, and working on the character balancing so that the play experience is more satisfying with what players expect from a fighting game nowadays. All the game's fatalities and variations, including animalities, nudalities, and whatever else is out there, along with the characters, will remain intact. So that is very exciting, I would say. Again, everything is still in the works, so there's no release date or availability details of this updated port yet. But I think this is interesting that they're trying to make this game come back. And I think nowadays, we're on this kick of, having retro games and kind of just playing games of old. They're making a comeback, the nostalgia factor. That's what I was looking for. So I think with these kind of quirky games, if they can get the game playable, I think fans and new people to the game, I think would really enjoy it. So what do you think overall of Tattoo Assassins, the Mortal Kombat clone that never was? Love your thoughts in the comments down below. That's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed that like button, if you want more like this one, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.